The Dynasty Podcast is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects. You were warned. The Dynasty Podcast is brought to you by Jumbo Donuts. Get a delicious blueberry muffin, bacon and cheese sandwich, or the Jumbo Donuts world-famous chocolate-covered donut. Don't be a fool. Start the day off right at your local Jumbo Donuts.
It's time to play the music. It's time to light the lights. It's time to meet the assholes on the Dynasty tonight. That's right. It's time to put on makeup. It's time to dress up right. It's time to raise the curtain on the Dynasty tonight. Why do we always come here? I guess we'll never know. It's like some kind of torture to have to watch the show. And now let's get things started. Why don't you get things started? It's time to get things started on the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, sexuational. This is what we call the Dynasty Podcast. And now, coming to you live from Riverdale Studios, your host, the one, the only, Eric Costanza!
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the episode number 4 of the Jumbo Donuts Dynasty Podcast. This is Commissioner Eric Costanza coming to you live from Riverdale Studios. It is hard to believe that we've already completed 4 weeks of the season. The big story that occurred in the league this past week was the crazy-ass amount of trades that went on as teams jockeyed into position to make their squads better for either now or the future. 6 trades, count them, 6 goddamn trades were put through last week where more than half the teams were involved in some type of deal. It was essentially a giant orgy of trading. The Dynasty Trading Committee worked overtime as 8 players, including Ray Rice, Benjarvis Green, Ellis Hobbs III, Adrian Peterson, Cedric Benson, Deshaun Jackson, Matt Forte, Daniel Thomas, and Steven Jackson were all dealt along with 10 2012 draft picks. And that led to a very interesting league poll that was put up on the league site by Coach Johnny C. Regarding trading. And what the poll essentially asked was who the worst team is for you personally to deal with in regards to trading. There were a bunch of different responses. A couple people got 1 vote. Myself and Brian got 2 votes, but the glaring winner of the poll, unfortunately for them, were the Iron Dogs, Coach Jeff and Jerry Gard. They got about 42% of the vote. Almost half the league all agreed that they are whether it be the toughest or hardest or most frustrating team to deal with in regards to trades. I personally didn't vote for them, but I'm guessing the reason for that is because of their lack of response to offers, whether they actually respond or how long it takes them to actually respond. A few other notes I would like to just quickly bring up here. Coach Phil Tamulus, our guest last week, he went ahead and put up a very interesting league story the other day called Inside the Numbers. If you haven't already read it, check it out. It's a good read. It kind of breaks down the strength of schedule and things of that nature. So check that out. Additionally, very soon I will be emailing everyone in the league the annual contender-pretender vote. As you all know, every year we do this, right around this time of the year. It's your chance to submit your personal vote on which 4 teams you think are going to end up making it into the playoffs at the end of the season. And I'm going to piggyback off of that email because in addition to that email will also be information inquiring about the dates for our Dynasty mid-season hangout. So that email is going to be mandatory for everybody to respond back to me. I'm going to ask for everybody to respond back to me with this email by Tuesday at noon. So I would appreciate if everybody did that. And then lastly, what I'd like to also mention is that, as you all know, one of the many things we have going on in the league is the Dynasty Facebook page. I'm sure you've all probably have checked it out at some point or another. It has a lot of things going on in it. Our podcasts are up on there. Our videos, pictures, Hall of Fame, things like that. When I started the Facebook page, Coach Jeff Gard, who is a very avid Facebook user, helped me in setting it up and also accepted the league role as Facebook analyst for the Dynasty Facebook page. For the past 3 months, approximately, I've actually been attempting to contact him and reaching out to him in various methods for some assistance and in trying to do certain things within the Facebook page and to get some ideas from him on different things that we can do. Unfortunately, I have not heard a peep back from the sumbitch. We're going on 3 months now, and I haven't heard anything back from him. So, with that being said, I'm hoping that Coach Jeff is listening to this podcast, and he will finally follow up with me. If for some reason he does not follow up with me by next week's podcast, then I am going to bring Vince McMahon into the studios here to publicly fire him as the Dynasty Facebook page analyst. I'm hoping that he does not force me to have to do this, but time will tell.
Now let's take a look into last week's results. Who kicked some ass? Who sucked?
Oh God, oh my God.
Week 4 saw some really, really close matchups. Starting off with the game of the week, the Amber Alerts versus Handy Quacks. And Coach Palucha was hoping to start up another winning streak after losing last week. And actually, the last time Handy Quacks even lost 2 in a row was after losing week 2 and 3 last year. But Coach Johnny C's Amber Alerts were just too much to handle, as the newly acquired Matt Forte and running back Beanie Wells combined for 59 points and were both in the top 5 in fantasy players for the week. So the Alerts go to 3-1 while Handy Quacks drops even at 2-2 as the Alerts got their first ever franchise victory against Handy Quacks. Now the next matchup, which also got a couple of Game of the Week votes, was Soul Glow versus Hong Kong Cavs. Coach Tavaleri was involved in 2 of the 6 trades last week as he shipped off Adrian Peterson and Forte. Now granted, he got some really good picks for next year, but it has costed him at least 1 victory because he lost by 1 point to the Cavaliers, 106 to 105. It was a good job by Coach Whiffen hanging on to that victory and getting his first ever franchise win over Soul Glow as the Cavs go up to 3-1. Now, the next matchup, which is getting a lot of buzz, was Negro Damas versus Bubba Gump Shrimp. This game is being replayed on the DirecTV NFL Network pretty much all week. So if you haven't already watched it, check it out. It looked like Negroes pulled off the upset with Aaron Rodgers. He had over 400 passing yards, 4 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. If my math is correct, that's 6 goddamn touchdowns from one person. That results in 53 fantasy points. A great game by Rodgers, though not a record. I do have to let everybody know it is not a record. The record, believe it or not, actually belongs to my Michael Vick last year when he went off and scored 57 fantasy points in one game. I'm sure Coach Glenn Stacy remembers that one. But Rodgers' sick performance wasn't enough because on Sunday Night Football, Bubba Gump Shrimp's Ravens defense scored 3 touchdowns, putting up 38 points. Now going into the Monday night game, Phil still had running back LeGarrette Blount. He needed him to score 20 points. Not impossible, would have been a great